It takes magic to fight magic, bitch. Hello, huge movie fanatic Nate coming at you with a review for another famous classic early 90s full moon entertainment extravaganza release called by the name of Dollman versus pardon me, the Demonic Toys. I'm here to review the movie and the recently released Blu-ray. I'm holding the VHS first video incarnation and then the Blu-ray, which is the most recent video incarnation of this particular movie. I've already reviewed Dollman and also Demonic Toys, so it only makes sense to review Dollman versus Demonic Toys, and having recently got the Blu-ray, I figured I can review not only the movie but the Blu-ray. So, as I've already stated, I've been a fan of Full Moon ever since the very first Puppet Master, and I think at the time I'd seen Dollman, but I don't think I'd really seen Demonic Toys. Strangely enough, this is a movie of Demonic Toys that I saw before, or at least, I had this. I bought it relatively recently after it came out, previously viewed, this tape you're looking at right here. And I watched this a lot before I had really seen the first movie. So, and if you know anything about Demonic Toys in this movie, you know that Baby Oopsie the voice changes dramatically from one to the other. So, for whatever reason, I don't know why. But Dollman vs. Demonic Toys is an interesting movie because it takes three separate full moon movies and blends characters from all three. You got Melissa Bear from the movie that I do have on Laserdisc, I bought really cheap, previously used years ago, from Bad Channels. You got the Tim Thomerson character Dollman from the movie Dollman, of course, and you have the Demonic Toys from the movie, that's correct, Demonic Toys, and also the Tracy Scoggins character from that particular movie as well. So you basically have this Charles Band just brainchild masterstroke of combining all these three movies and franchises, which is something he could do because he created and owned all the three franchises. So take Bad Channels girl, Doll Chick, which they call her in this movie, Melissa Bear, Dollman from Dollman, and Demonic Toys from Demonic Toys, with their featuring Tracy Scoggins, and put them all together in one slam bang movie. Sounds like the movie of the century, doesn't it? Unfortunately, it's more the movie of the minute. If that, it's not relatively that great. Now, what's ironic is I remember being a relatively big fan of it when I was a teenager. When it first came out, I actually got, after I got the VHS and I got a Laserdisc player, I actually got the previously viewed Laserdisc for, I hope it was not too much, but anyway, it's done and gone. I paid for it and it's there. But, the Laserdiscs back in the day looked really great. They were, I think, distributed by Pioneer or something like that on Laserdisc back in the day. And so I got I don't know where the hell it is, otherwise I'd show you, but trust me, I've got the VHS tape and the Laserdisc of Dollman vs. Demonic Toys, and I thought the movie back then just looked so cool, and the colors and all this and that, but anyway, I'm rambling. So unfortunately, the best thing about this movie is not a whole lot. The movie is only 60 or 64 minutes long, and that's including, both opening, closing credits, and also flashbacks from three separate movies, which I've already mentioned. So who knows what the actual, person could figure it out if they wanted to, but who knows what the actual running time of the new footage they shot is. It might be as minimal as 40 minutes or 35 minutes of new footage shot for this movie. And it's half of it or more is spent basically setting everything up. Dollman meeting Doll Chick and Tracy Scoggins' character finding them, and by the time that she gets them together and brings them to the toy warehouse in the suitcase, that movie's halfway over or more, and then of course Tracy Scoggins just dies in a lame way. She was probably glad to be done with this franchise. And we, spend the rest of the 20 or 15 minutes of the verse, with Dollman versus Demonic Toys, which is not as great as it sounds and whatever. I will say one of the most amazing and the coolest things about this movie is for the beginning of the movie, they built this really cool, Doll Chick and Dollman, of course, are like doll size. They're like 12 inches high or something like that, and they built this really cool countertop, which who knows what it cost back in the day and how much work it was, but they built this really cool countertop where Dollman meets Doll Chick, shoots a spider and all this kind of shit, and just hangs out for a while so Tracy Scoggins can just peek her head in the window. Oh no, the other guy peeks his head in the window, the guy from American Ninja. The Tracy Scoggins actually comes through the door or whatever. So, but they, one of the coolest things about the movie that really gives it, a really cool kind of feel, and it works really well as the oversized countertop they built for, you know, Melissa Bear and Tim Thomerson to play around on. Really did a fantastic job of setting up the fact that these are small people, and it really worked fantastically, almost in an A-movie kind of a way. It was a really great production value that they built there, and I think that basically they use it for like 3 scenes, which I'm glad they used it for as much as they did, because, you know, they went through a lot of work and money to build that. So that's one of the coolest things about the movie, is a huge countertop for them to play on. Melissa Bear is obviously relatively attractive, with some, you know, decent sized, you know, breastage that we see kind of in their little bikini thing at the beginning. And Tim Thomerson is always great. I'm not a huge fan, but I'm a fan of his. I think he's great and stuff like that. So unfortunately at the end of the day, it's just kind of like, so I'm going to go 1.5 stars out of 4 for Dollman versus Demonic Toys. It's a cool idea, and you'd think bringing on all these people together from 3 separate movies would just be this huge slam bang extravaganza, but unfortunately it turns out to be kind of just a bunch of, you know, half of the movie or more is set up, and then the versus stuff is kind of lame, and they built a huge Baby Oopsie to wear and a huge Jack in the Box or whatever the hell they call them to wear, and it's just, they shouldn't have wasted their time and money on that, because they can tell when they show those things for a very limited amount of time, they can tell they're so much heavier and big than the small versions, and that was just, it made sense to do in theory, but in the movie, you know, either that or they should have, like, what would you do? You would under, they could have undercranked the stuff with those huge, you know, huge things, and had Tim go a little slower. That way they move a little faster, but whatever. Now on to the review of the Blu-ray, which I actually wouldn't have gotten, except for it's got commentary by Charles Band and Tim Thomerson. No people, you know, sitting in the middle of them asking them questions. Just those two who have worked together, you know, I was going to say a lot of times, 10 times or more. These guys have a history making transfers and Dollman and who knows whatever else. The only reason I bought this is because it was like $11 or $12, and it's got I wouldn't have bought this if it didn't have the commentary. So I actually bought this for the commentary with Charlie Band and Tim Thomerson, unfortunately, which isn't really that great. They kind of, as they so often do with so many of their commentaries, they just kind of end up watching it, and Thomerson doesn't have a whole hell of a lot to say. Thomerson is so funny in commentaries. If you can get it for $11, $12, it is worth the commentary. Unfortunately, yeah. So he's funny, saying like, "I hate that clown head" or whatever the hell. Yeah, so he's funny. It also features the original Video Zone making of. Unfortunately, just like Dr. Mordred, I don't think it features the whole Video Zone, only the making of this particular behind-the-scenes movie portion of the Video Zone. I wish I'd include the whole Video Zone. And just like the Dr. Mordred Blu-ray, this features, what is it? It's 3 hours and 15 minutes of raw behind-the-scenes footage of this movie. I think it's pretty much, you know, I don't know if there's any other interviews from any other footage from any of the other whatevers, but regardless, it's 3 hours and 15 minutes of behind the scenes interviews, stuff like that, which is really kind of cool to see. And there's a lot of footage of them on the oversized counter set. Tim Thomerson just being like, must have been like 100 degrees in the set, and he's just like, it's so hot. But unfortunately, like the majority of the Full Moon Blu-rays, as far as I can tell, I don't bother with 5.1 because it's probably crap anyway, but as far as I can tell, like the majority of Full Moon Blu-rays, this sounds like mono to me. And the transfer, it's not as good as Dr. Mordred. It's kind of dark and whatever here and there, but on the whole, I'd say it's a decent transfer. I don't think there's any cut off heads. It's really cool to actually, you know, I do got to give Charlie Band props for, you know, bringing the Full Moon early 90s catalog into the 21st century, and, you know, being able to see these movies in high definition. So props to him for doing that. The behind the scenes, 3 hours 15 minutes of behind the scenes is funny. The commentary is enjoyable. If you can get it for $11 or $12, I would recommend this Blu-ray. I mean, to see Dollman blasting Demonic Toys, I mean, hell, who wouldn't want that for $11? And fun to listen to Charlie Band and Tim Thomerson reminisce about the bad old days, and unfortunately Tim Thomerson says something that's kind of gross about Melissa Bear, about some band members passing around like a sex toy, which I thought was kind of, yeah, I mean, it's kind of low, you know. It's talk, you know, he maybe forgot right then he was talking, it was being recorded for everyone to hear. But anyway, Tim Thomerson and Charlie Band commentary is fun. The movie's not particularly that great. One of the, you know, mid to lesser full moon movies of the heydays. So if you can pick up the Blu-ray cheap, I'd say go for it. Otherwise, like I say, I only bought it for the commentary. So thank you very much for watching this review of Dollman vs. Demonic Toys movie in Blu-ray, and as always, I'll catch you on the next video.